Okay, partners, colleagues, let's start. Welcome to the introduction section on the referral map of technical working group of the mental health and psychosocial support. Thank you for joining us this Friday. Today we will speak about the technical working group map. We will speak about how to use it, what it's for, and also we will consider a few examples of how it can be used in practice. So to show you the presentation, I will briefly touch upon a few slides. Last time we spoke about them, but let me remind you and us on Tuesday to be able to see and have this information as well. So today we have the following. First of all, we will speak about what this referral map is for. We'll consider its content and the use examples, and of course you will have a chance to your questions, comment on something, and give us any feedback. So what is it that we need the map for? The map of MHPSS partner. First of all, we need the map for referrals. Referrals on different organizations, search of contacts of different organizations to provide this process. Then the next one, we needed coordination. Thanks to this map, we can see the coverage in hromadas, different oblasts, regional coverage, the coverage by different types of services, groups of users, and thus all of that we can use in our work. Apart from that, we can identify some gap or something that we need to focus on when we look at this map, and we'll be able to identify the lack of services for groups of people or the lack of services for specific geographical location. And from that, we can use this tool in particular. Representatives of some organizations who can use it to plan their projects. We can see whether our project can somehow complement the existing landscape of MHPSS services in different territories or areas. Apart from that, this is the tool, since it's accessible on the page of the technical working group on the webpage of the UN humanitarian actions, and the map is pinned there on that website, and the partners get the visibility, popularization of activities, because anyone who wants to can enter that website and see the information about their organization on the map. And finally, this tool provides us with a comprehensive vision of the whole situation in the area of mental health and social support in Ukraine. In terms of the content of the map, it is collected through health protection clusters and also through mental health and psychosocial support technical work partners. This map is updated and revised every 3 months, and it is fully updated from the very beginning when the humanitarian cycle starts. Very soon, we have the new full update of the map. The map is available both in English and Ukrainian, adapted, and thus you can see the full list of the map in both languages, English and Ukrainian, and all of that gives us a detailed and specialized overview of MHPSS services in Ukraine. Really, there are different clusters or regions which have own maps. But the map we're about today is very detailed, and it is focused on the services provided in the area of mental health and social support. Thus, it encompasses way more details. We will speak about that right now. The content of the map is divided into 4 sections. Guideline for W, that's the sections who, what, where, and when. In the who section, you can look at the organizations working in Ukraine. We have the list of organizations there, includes international NGOs, national NGOs, UN agencies, and so this is quite big. And all of these organizations submitted their data to. Apart from that, this map includes the information on partners of clusters, MHPSS TWG working group partners. It's important to say that from the humanitarian response partners and non-humanitarian response partners who are focused more on some other aspects of mental health and psychosocial support, not only humanitarian response. But all of that you can on the map. And in this section, you can also see details of a specific, let's say by filtering specific organization, its contact information, the working hours, groups of focus. In the second category, in the what category, we can see 11 activities, services, and activities. Sub-services, we can put it differently, and is based on the recommendations which are put in the Interagency Standing Committee of the UN document for you, as I mentioned it today, in the area of MHPSS. And this section includes not only services, it's not the only characteristic of the organizational service, but it also has the about the services provided to respond to the humanitarian situations. You can filter it ability factors, let's say veterans, services for IDs, and services for LGBTQIA+ community. Also, we can filter the data by age and sex of the of service. For example, we can find the services for or services for, let's say, of the age. All of that you see on the map we're talking about today. Also, you can see different types of psychotherapies and different modalities of service provision. I mean, whether the service is provided online or in or automatically on some platform. If we look at the third section, section D, here you see the information on the distribution of organizations' activities by levels. We have services provided all over Ukraine or in different oblasts. The services provided all over Ukraine, which cover all hromadas, all oblasts. Usually, these are online services. In-person services are usually provided in some specific. Even if we speak about big organizations working in many oblasts at the same time. And in this section, you can also see not only this filter, whether the oblasts are provided all over Ukraine or different oblasts, but you can also filter the information and see the oblasts provided in the specific oblast or specific rayon. Right now, partners cover 115 rayons of Ukraine, or you can see the services provided in a specific hromada. Right now, our partners of the working group cover more than 1,000 hromadas, which is more than thirds. And the final fourth section answers the question when. Here we can see the date of the beginning and finish of the project and working hours of different organizations in different locations. And right now, I'd like to focus on what's changed in contrast to our previous version of the map, because we sessions regularly when the map is updated for all the partners to know we updated this tool and what changes were introduced and how to use it. In this map, of course, the data was updated, but also was simplified. Right now, it's way easier to see the contact information of specific organizations, and I will show it in practice when I show the map for you to understand it easier. And also a new page, statistics page, which is both in English and Ukrainian, and you can see the information on different activities of different organizations and about the distribution of services in different oblasts. And so also in that page, you can filter the information and see in the specific oblast or data on the specific or service, and the statistics will be modified when you apply filters. Now, let me a few words about how we can use this map, what use case we can have. So first of all, if we follow these 4 sections again, then we can, in the who section, choosing some organization, we can find out what, where, and when this organization does. What is the geographical location of the services of the organization? We'll see that today it's very easy and it's very useful, especially if you're interested to know more about the activity and organizations. The second thing we can do, we can find context of the organization's focal point, this section. Also, we will see how to do it today. Everything that I'm saying right now we'll be able to see in practice later. In the what section, you'll be able to see the geographical coverage of different services. Let's say, what is the coverage of the spaces in Ukraine, providing psychosocial services. You can filter this service and see in what regions this service is available. Also, you can identify the service coverage for specific groups. For example, for children, or the service coverage for the veterans or IDPs, and so on. Apart from that, you can find about the coverage of services with a certain modality, whether the services are provided in person, let's say in person with the specialist, somewhere closer to the front line, or let's say in the remote Hromada. All of that can be seen in this section. Also, if we look at the section here, you can see who works in different oblasts, rayons, or Hromadas. It's really important and useful for the partner presence analysis, partner presence in different oblasts to coordinate our activities. And lastly, in the when section, we can filter the data on timelines of implementation, and you'll be able to see whether there are projects planned in this Hromada for 2024, 2025, or the specific months of the year. Of course, we get it that the information which is uploaded to this map is provided by our partners. So maybe this information is not always precise, or maybe some typos or something that needs to be improved. Nevertheless, this tool to maximum shows the landscape of MHPSS in Ukraine, and thus we believe it to be valuable and useful and handy when you implement your activities. So now let's move on to the practical, which we didn't manage to see last meeting. And now let me put on the screen the technical working group webpage. So you can see the technical working group webpage. I kindly ask my colleague put the link to it in the chat so that you would save it. And please put it in the, because you will have the information on all the regional groups, task teams, and likewise, you can see a lot of useful information on the activities of interagency, standing committee, group activity, and activities implemented in Ukraine. Also, here in the left column, you can see the contact information of the co-chairs of the group on different levels, starting from the national, regional, oblast, and the task teams focal points. And here you can see the referral map of the group. You can click on it, and right away you will see that. As you can see it here, we go to the main menu and you can choose the language. Let's choose English version for our foreign colleagues to understand it. And we can always change the language, and the next part of this map will be in Ukrainian. We will just change the languages for your convenience. So we click on that, and it's quite a big file, so it takes a few seconds to load. Here in the left, you can see the map of Ukraine and the coverage with all the services in Ukraine. Above, under the name of the map, you can see the statistic, which is pinned, and you can see it all the time. Here we see the number of organizations, the number of rayons covered, and number of hromadas, and number of sub-activities, sub-services that I mentioned earlier. And also you can see the web page here that is divided into a few parts. We have who part, what part, when part, and where part. So in the who part, you can scroll the list of the organizations and select the one you want to know more about. And here you can choose, let's say, this organization, IMC, Medical Corps. And when we click on IMC, we graphical coverage of the organization, and we will see the blue circles in the regions where the organization is. So we see statistics is different. One organization selected 37 hromadas, and it sub-activity of this filter. Then if you want to look at the other organization, Arms of Mercy, we can click on it and see the changes in the map. So the organization provides 3 types of sub-services in the communities, in 7 communities, in 7 hromadas. And these types of sub-activities are shown in what section. So these 3 sub-activities organization provides. If we want to look at the contacts of this organization, following the instruction you can see to the right, where it says that once you've chosen a specific organization in this section, you can check the box near it and then scroll down to see its details. So let's scroll down and we'll be that we see this. See? And we see all their contacts. In particular, we have their contacts in different oblasts. And we also see the working hours and the details on the work of this organization, what it offers, and for what clients. All of that becomes possible thanks to this tool. And if we understood everything and we want to go back, we can go back, and instead of clicking on this square next to organization, we can simply click on the reset button. Once we click on the reset button, we go back to the main page, home page. And if we look at the what section, here we see two main columns, activities and sub-activities. In the activities section, we have 11 activities, as I said, starting from information dissemination and all the way down to mental disorders management by specialized and non-specialized service providers, child-friendly spaces, and general activities in MHPSS. And if we look at sub-activities, there are a lot of them, and let's try to understand them. So we want to find out more about psychosocial support, psychological support in education. That's point 5, activity list. And if we click on it, let's see how the map changed. You see that the geographical coverage has changed, and we also see that we have the list of sub-activities where we see psych support for teachers and school staff, and we see psychosocial support for children and pupils. And support, for example, we can click on psychosocial support for teachers to choose social support and education. We can choose the second filter in sub-activities. To do that, we click on control or comma, depending on the operational system. Information is mentioned above. So I click on control, social support for teachers and staff. The map is loading, and we see that picture almost has changed since most organizations offer this service. They provide it for school teachers and staff. Reset this filter and go back to our home page. Now let's try to choose a different service. Let's say we psychological interventions. Number 8 in our list. When we chose this point, first of all, we see the different map picture, and secondly, we can choose the sub-activity. Let's say individual counseling. That's point 8.1. We click on control and select on the list. We selected it. We see that the list is different. Geographical coverage is different, but also we can see here in the list of organizations. And likewise, we can use the other filters of this section to be able to see, the means of access to the intervention, the age of service users, sex of service users, the type of therapy, vulnerability factors of service, or services for helping professions. For example, we may choose services provided to a specific group, so we still choose psychological intervention, individual basic counseling, but let's say we want living with HIV. From the list of vulnerability factors, we click on this group of clients. There are a lot of different groups of people, so we click on and we choose people living HIV, and we see the changes on the map. So we see only the organizations offering these services. We can see the list of these organizations here, and if we want to add, if we want to refer someone to these organizations, simply choose different organization. Let's say it's Smile UA. We click on control and we click on Smile UA or Posmishka, and we scroll down and we'll be able to see the contacts of this organization, the contact phone number. So here is our now. Let's look at Group D. Section D. Here we have oblasts and hromadas. We can click on services all over Ukraine, but let's click a different category right now. let's say Ivano-Frankivska Oblast. So by clicking on Ivano-Frankivsk Oblast on the list, I get closer to Ivano-Frankivsk Oblast, and I see that we have 10 organizations working here in 6 rayons in 59 hromadas. And all of these organizations are here on the list. We can see them here on the list in the WHO category or the services they provide. So let's assume that right now we want to work who works in Kalushsky rayon, and we see rayons in Ivano-Frankivska Oblast. And so select or filter Kalushsky rayon. The map is loading and shows us the information on this territory. We can also filter some other hromadas, let's say Kalushska hromada, and by clicking on control and clicking on hromada on the list. There are 3 organizations working: Blokada, Posmiška UA, and Save the Children. And we can see the information on each of them, the services, and we can use this information in our planning or project management. And right now, let's also look at the one use map in, and if, for example, we use a few filters at the same time. So we can, let's say, look at what services Rokada Charity Foundation provides. We click on Rokada on the list and we see the big geographical coverage, western part of Ukraine, and we can click on, let's say, specific oblast. Let's choose Lviv Oblast, for example. So Lvivska Oblast is here, and we see the organization Rokada, where it is represented in Lvivska Oblast. We've narrowed the filter, zoomed in, and by putting our mouse indicator, we can see the number and whether the organization is present there. And if we want to see just all the organizations, we can remove the Rokada filter and we see the big list of organizations working in every area. So put the mouse indicator to the map, you can see the list of the organizations in different oblasts. That's the lowest line of the table with number of organizations working in different hromadas. Now let's remove the filter from Lvivska Oblast and let's filter something else. For example, we're trying to find an organization which is providing psychotherapy for children in some oblast. So in the what section, let's choose psychological interventions here, and then we choose psychotherapy interventions. Psychological interventions, then we filter the, let's say, children. And this way, we have this list, 26 organizations which can offer that in different oblasts. Let's filter Kharkivska. So from what section we move section and we filter Kharkivska Oblast. And the map gets zoomed into that territory and we can see all the organizations in our filter. In Izumska Hromada, we have 5 organizations providing psychological interventions. In Kharkiv itself, 6 organizations. So we can see the list of these organizations here above to the right in the WHO section. If you want to see the organization about a specific organization, let's say we group this one, Захист Human Rights Protection group in Kharkiv. And once the map is uploaded, you can see the contact information. I see that we have a question about how to change the data. Yeah, so if your data has changed, you email us and the information, and we will delete the old data and add the new data. So that's what we will need to fill the uploaded by you, but you will kindly ask you to provide the information to us. So you choose the organization from the list, the map is loaded, and to see the contact information and even email of the organization, the working hours, and the focus, which is psychoeducation, psychodiagnostics, and consultation. We work so that all these points would be in both process because it needs to be manually translated. If we try to filter something else, let's say if we want to see the services for teachers or the services for doctors, we can also filter that here. Let's say in the type group of services for service providers, we can see health services, and then we print map a little bit, see that we see the gap in the central part of the country. And let's try to look at something else. We can look at the services specific rayon. Let's say if we want to filter by oblast, but we want to filter by rayon, we can choose any rayon. Let's choose Bilodnistrovsky, for example, and we see that the map to this area, and we see organizations present this rayon, and we can check their information. Let's say 10th of April, if we click, and if wait seconds for the map to get uploaded, then we will see the contact and the hotline and information on the activity of this organization. Are there any questions? And also in the chat, let me look. So we see that there are some questions about how to add the information about your organization to the map. Of course, you can do it if you email us or follow the guide which my colleagues shared, so that step how to do it. It doesn't take a lot of time. As I said, once in a few months, this map is updated, and it's not a very difficult process. Victor, the floor is yours. Hello, could you tell me, is there the of the Ukrainian Red Cross? Repeat your question, I couldn't get it. The activity of Ukrainian Red Cross Society, UCRC, is it there or maybe internationally? Because I look in my region in Kharkiv Oblast, I couldn't see it. In English, if it has to be Ukraine Red Cross Society. Yes, I see that it's not on the map. Maybe the information we received of the previous year, of last year, so maybe this organization needs to update this information. But even in the search filter, really, we see that there is no Ukrainian Red Cross. You know, was it in 2023? Do you happen to know? It seems to me it was there, yes. But maybe you need to update this information. That's why we have these sessions to attract attention to the importance of the update of the information, because all the representatives of the organizations check whether they are on the map. I have a question. Hello. Could you tell me why the map in Mykolaiv filter doesn't work in Ukrainian version of the map? Why does it happen? Let me check on my computer. I can't do it, then we will contact our technical support team, and then we will contact you bilaterally and with colleagues who find it relevant. Let's see. Let's look at Mykolaiv to the... Yes. Clicking on Mykolaiv Hromada. Let me filter. So Mykolaivska Oblast and Mykolaiv Rayon, Mykolaivsky Rayon, and also I see that really the map, the Ukrainian map version is not changing. You are right, maybe there is a technical issue. Right after this session we will see, and please leave your email and we will contact you again to clarify this situation, and we will see whether it is cross. We will share this information with all the... Should I put my email in the chat? Yes, please do that, and we will inform you fix this problem. I see a raised hand. Please, the floor is yours, Malik.
Hello, sorry, can you hear me? And I'm wondering if I can ask this in English. Yeah, my name is Malik Mukaddim. I'm the MHPSS program manager with MHAD. We recently, we have taken over operations from MSF France. So I wanted to know, this might have been asked, but I couldn't catch on, if we can update the name from MSF France into MHAD, and who I need to talk to for that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day, and I appreciate you all.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. Do you have other questions?
Okay.
Katarina, if I may? Yes, please. Thank you. My name is Ihor. I'd like to clarify, as I know, almost cluster has the service mapping and rules. Could you tell us, please, do you somehow cooperate with clusters on how to map these referrals and locations in terms of other clusters? You've just shown on the map psychological services for teachers, for children. I understand that teachers is education cluster, children psychological services for children. It's child protection cluster, humanitarian coordination of child protection, and child protection subcluster or AOR, they have their own map where they show the services who provide psychological support. And is there some cooperation? Do you share this data somehow? So also I'd like to clarify, I'm interested about supporting people, providing the assistance to people who survived the gender-based violence and sexual violence. When I click on this filter, almost nothing changes on the map, so I don't understand what services are provided, because I see 8 activities which were there before and are still there. I understand that maybe not everything works well or perfectly. So, and also in the list of organizations, I found 2 rocadas. So probably it's related. Thank you so much for paying attention to that. And thank you so much, Ihor. And really, in terms of organizations and the names of the organizations, there may be some inconsistencies. We have the send feedback button here. So all of these points you can write to our anonymous form, which is brief and short. By clicking, you can simply inform us on the mistakes you've noticed, and you can leave your contact information if you want us to contact you. And thus, there is this possibility because we understand that every tool can be improved. And if we speak about the service for the BV survivors, we can click on the filter in this section. And by clicking on the filter, as you've said, almost nothing may change. That means that organizations mentioned that their services are available for this group. And of course, I see that Alexandra Kukovska is here with us. So maybe you'd like to comment on that about the referrals, because we wanted to focus on that in the summary part of this meeting. So Alexandra Makovska, the floor is yours. Let me comment the mapping right away and information exchange. So as a cluster, we also have our platform for information and the services provided in the protection cluster and other adjacent clusters which agreed to join it. So in terms of reporting of the organization on psychosocial support, we send the information to the technical working group on psychosocial support so that colleagues would have the full overview of what organizations and the volume of is provided regardless of what cluster the organization reports to. It's protection or health cluster or education cluster. The map which the technical working on psychosocial support has, it is more detailed than the map we have, because we simply include the information about whether it's psychosocial support on individual level or group level. That's it. And the working group has the possibility to track the information on and to map the information on different types of psychosocial support, and thus, according to the Interagency Standing Committee pyramid. And I think that for the specialists work social support, this map is very useful, valuable tool, because, for example, for organizations not working protection area or psycho support, they will have enough information from us to refer the person psychosocial support if the person just disseminates non-products. Difficult to say what services the person needs, and it's enough to refer the organization providing psychosocial services, and then the specialist will refer the patient further. But there is the exchange of information, and the working group inform the working group one time, or depending on the changes, what services they provide, what social group they cover, and the organizations report to the clusters monthly on the number of people and in what hromadas they provided the service. So this process is different, but we communicate and coordinate our activities and exchange information with each other. If somebody reported to the cluster and this information is not, then the technical working group colleagues will receive this information from us and will contact this information and ask this information to join and to put the information on the map. That's it about the intercluster And in terms of referral, Katarina, could you tell me when can I take the floor? Right now, participants, like, while they see this map, they may have some other questions. Thank you, Alexandra, and thank you for reminding about it, because I overlooked it and I didn't say about the data exchange. It's really important for us, for your effort as an organization not to be duplicated. I see it takes some time for you as an organization to fill in all these forms, but we take the information from health and protection clusters. We integrate all of that, all these maps. Mrs. Alexandra mentioned, when we speak about mental health and psychosocial support, other clusters don't have detailed information on that, but we're trying to get the information from you to add that to the map and show that on the map. If we don't get this extra information, we simply put that it's psychosocial support and that. So, colleagues, do you have other questions related to the map? Can we move on to the final section and we can give the floor to Alexandra? I think that questions were asked, but if there are more, the floor is yours. Can I ask again, please? So, Kharkivska Oblast, how it works? Yes, sure. But let me tell you that we will share the recording of this meeting with you, so you'll be able to go back to it again. So let's look at Kharkivska Oblast. Thank you, colleagues, for paying attention to some difficulties related to the Ukrainian version of the map. It seems like everything's well in the English version, but we will check everything in the Ukrainian version. Here in the where section, we can click on Kharkivska Oblast. We click and we see that the map is loading, and we see the information on Kharkiv Oblast, and we see geographically, and we see how many organizations, 20 organizations work in 7 rayons, 56 hromadas, and 44 sub-activities. We see the list of these organizations here on the list above in the Who section. We can click on one of them, and if we on it and scroll down, you'll see the contacts of this organization. Here in What section, you can see the services provided, and thus you can filter by the service. Let's say we can find the services related to, let's say, specialized clinical management of mental disorders. That's point number 10. The filtering is, for example, for some reason, 1 and 10 each other, but if we click on 10, then we see a map. We see 4 organizations providing these services, and likewise you can get the list changed in terms of the number of organizations. We can click on these organizations. For example, Action Against Hunger. We can click on this organization. Then when the information is loaded on the map, we can see the contacts of this organization, see the head of MHPSS department contacts. I see that maybe it's not very convenient because the letters are so small, but it's about the fact that contact information is very detailed, and for it to be shown to maximum, we such small font. And if we want to move the filter, we can click on Control and Reset. Move the filter on the specialized clinical management. We click on Control and we choose. So it's the same as when we choose the files on the laptop. We can choose, for example, psychotherapy out of the list, and we click on it and we see cognitive behavioral therapy, let's say. We click on Control, click on cognitive behavioral therapy, and we see the different list. We have 5 organizations offering this therapy in this list, and thus we can click on the organization, find the contacts, and see the geographical coverage. For example, cognitive behavioral therapy differs from the general service coverage, which is broader. So we can use these examples. But Victor, if you want, we can plan to have an individual session and in details explore something that is relevant exactly your use. And it's about all the participants of our session, of our meeting. Please email us and we'll be glad to clarify something and provide you all the support. Thank you so much. That's your email, MHPSS TWG. Yes, that's right. Thank you, colleagues. Right now, let's go back and give the floor to Alexandra. So she would on referral. Colleagues, I'd like so let me tell you in the system of humanitarian protection. Just a moment, please. Katarina, unfortunately, I cannot share my screen. So could you please put the slides on the screen? So when humanitarian organizations speak about refer, in general, it's a very clear definition. And I'd like for the participants of the meeting today to have the same understanding, because very often when we speak about referral, we mean that the person receives the contact information of the other organization, the person contacts it and receives it and support, or the person does not contact the organization, does not receive support, or contacts and does not receive support due to some mismatch of what support organization can or cannot provide. So when we speak about referral, we mean the process of a referral of person or family members to this provider in protection area. And this process and this provider has the services which the person needs that our organization cannot provide. And the key point here is when we speak about referral, we mean two-side communication between workers of humanitarian area from the referring organization and the organization to which person is referred. So referral is when we contact the other organization ourselves and say that there is a person who needs this type of support, provide the brief analysis assessment of the need, and this communication is happening between two specialists. The organization which the person was referred receives our information and analyze whether they provide this type of support, provides us with the confirmation, and from the person that this person contact this or that organization and get the support that like somebody can call this person to agree about the suitable time. This communication requires informed consent, helps us to make sure that the person will get aid and support. When we speak about the situation when we simply the person, the contact of the other organization and recommend the person to contact that organization himself, herself, this type of counseling is also a useful service, but to be sure that the person will get the support. In most cases, with most people that we work, probably counseling will be enough, just given the contacts of the other organization, and the person would contact that other organization and get the support. But in psychosocial support, sure, and especially, you know that sometimes people don't have the resources or may not have energy. If the person came to one organization years, oh, you know, the way we work help you, it's better for you to contact other organization. Not all the people will get to that other organization. And in such cases, this referral and support which our organizations and specialists can offer will be really, really like all of us to understand this process the same way. When we say referral, when we provide this additional assistance. Next slide, please. Humanitarian area, there are specific standards which have to be, and like both referring and the referred organizations have to have a lot of processes. I will simply put in the chat the standards developed by the cluster and one-page inter-agency referral form that we offer. It has the basic information, the name of the person that we refer, what and in general confirm that we have the informed consent of the person for such referral. Next slide, please. The process looks the following way. It's very simple, just like counseling. Discuss with the person the further actions, next steps. When we look at that map, which Katarina showed, we identify what organizations provide the necessary support. We inform the person about that. We receive the informed consent that yes, the person is okay with that, that we will provide the information about this person to the other organization. We fill in this referral form, we identify the service provider, send the contact information, and then we monitor whether the person started support or not. Next slide, please. In terms of referral, you can use the email data which is put on the map which Katarina showed, and if there is the phone number of the organization, it may be useful to explain and to contact by the phone and provide other information about the case, because maybe not everything has to be put in the referral form, especially in such sensitive areas, psychosocial support, and we send the referral form as the attached letter from the organizations, whether it really needs to be done, or maybe it's enough to inform the phone, the referred organization. But in this case, we are responsible for referrals we give, and the organization which is referring the person is responsible for tracking this process. So any helps both referring and hosting organization not to lose the person. That's why you should do something in the written form that's a complex case, and then we provide the extra form of referral, and the referring organization has this responsibility to track this process and to make sure that the person receives support. Hosting organization did not provide support, we go back to the map which Katarina showed, we find a different organization and refer the person again. And the referral can be considered successful only after the person who needs support started getting these services. As organizations which systematically refer are those who have the extra function, but not only them. Usually they also have the internal referral systems we developed not to overlook and lose anything. Well, that's brief about it, and in standards, everything is quite simply written. So I do hope that those of you who would like to systematize your work in the area of referral, if it didn't work in your organization this way, it may be useful. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much, Alexandra. The information you shared is very valuable and important for the partners, because we really have a lot area of referral. So we encourage you to consider the information following. And we will also share the link again in the Telegram chat, technical working group, so that you would always have the link to it and you will know more about the referrals. Well, actually, are there questions on this? We've exceeded our time limit a bit, but the topic is important and there is high interest to it. I don't see any questions. I think that we can wrap up this meeting. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Protection Cluster, for your ongoing and cooperation in our work, and in particular in and sharing this information about referral and the procedures of referral and the difference of referral and counseling. Thank you, colleagues, partners. Have a nice weekend and a good evening. Thank you. Goodbye.